clap. All right. So I think everyone here knows me. I've been visited with all of you, most of you in the last week. You. Levi, I've met you. And I know Matt and I just visited this last week. So tonight we're going to actually talk about interviewing and what that entails. So you guys aren't quite at the point yet where you'll be doing the interviews to go to medical school, to go to PA school, to go wherever, but you could be doing other interviews. And so these are good techniques to use. But we're going to start out by doing something kind of fun, just kind of a icebreaker. That's not an icebreaker kind of thing. Okay. Does anyone know what Mad Libs is? Do you guys online know what Mad Libs is? You can talk, it's okay. Well, they're not. All right.
Filling in the blanks.
Yeah, pretty much. So let's see here. It's on my phone. All right. So guys in the room and guys on Zoom, give me a word that ends in ing, a verb ending in ing.
Dabbing. Jumping.
Okay, dabbing or jumping? Jumping. All right, give me a noun.
Dab.
That's not a noun. Levi, can you give me a noun? We've got a student graduating here in a semester and he doesn't know what nouns are.
I mean, if I switch the type of dab, it's a noun.
Someone, a noun. Chocolate. Chocolate.
Ohio.
Well, that's a good one. Good. We'll use that one next. Okay. Person in the room.
Oh, you.
And adjective. Work with this person.
Beautiful.
This is so great. Okay. Plural noun. Monkeys. Okay, another plural noun.
Go with it.
Molly, new plural noun. Not monkeys or girls. Socks. Another plural noun. You know your name's coming. Oh, there are. What'd you say? Penguins. Just watched the South Park episode about penguins. Okay. Okay. Adjective. Rusty. Rusty. Okay, Levi, give me a plural noun. Besides penguins or socks or gorillas or monkeys.
Giraffes.
Dress.
Giraffes.
Oh. All right, and an adjective. Anybody? Word that
Hungry.
What was that, bud?
Hungry.
Hungry. Okay. Another adjective. Didn't know you were coming to a grammar meeting tonight, did you? Cool. 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 Like COO. No, okay. And I'm going to use Ohio because I think I said that one earlier. And another noun.
Walnuts.
wombats. Another noun, I swear we're getting there. We're getting there.
Paintbrush.
Paintbrush. Verb,
Eating.
eating. Okay, we got it. Okay, so now we made a story. Sorry. All right, so this is called job opportunity, which is funny because we're going to be talking about interviews tonight. So attention, the ship is Jumping Chocolate, commanded by Captain Tom. Wait, commanded by Captain Tom, offers a truly beautiful opportunity to gain riches and everlasting monkeys for the following. 10 able-bodied gorillas sorry, needed for hoisting and trimming the ship's socks, loading and firing penguins, and when necessary, swabbing the rusty dress. Two lookouts must be blessed with hungry eyesight and cool voices and be small enough to fit in a crow's Ohio. One cabin wombats to be at captain's beck and call, morning, noon, and paintbrush. Must be able to read and eat. So we made story. It went differently in my head when I was planning it out, but okay. It wasn't it pretty? I know. All right. All right, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is time management. So it's not quite the interview stuff yet, but you guys all came back from spring break. How was everybody's spring break? Amazing, awesome, wonderful, good. Yeah. I talked to you. Did you go anywhere? Did you go home?
I didn't know home yet.
Oh, okay. How was your spring break, Levi?
It was good, low key,
Nice.
nothing too crazy.
Isn't that like the best week ever when nothing exciting happens?
Exactly.
Yep, I'm with you. I was in meetings all week with Braden. Braden's in the room. No, just kidding. All right. So we're gonna talk about time management. So you guys all came back from, came back from spring break, refreshed and rejuvenated, and now you have how many weeks left of the semester? 4 weeks left of the semester. Who's got tests to take? A lot of papers due. Who's graduating? Who's kind of graduating? So it's a lot of stuff. And so time management is a very, very important thing. Students who perceive control of their time report significantly greater performance, work, and life satisfaction, less role ambiguity, less role overload, and fewer somatic body tensions. So what do you all do for time management? Mom, you're super organized.
I have like a schedule that, I mean, I followed it a lot more closely at the beginning of the semester,
Mhm.
but it's still kind of like when I don't know where to start, it's kind of like helps me organize.
Right.
My thoughts, yeah.
Right. And that's a good way to like in a planner, or you just have it like on your computer.
Yeah,
I tried to do the planner thing. It's actually in my backpack. It's come out once. What about you? Yeah, you. What do you do how do you organize or manage your time? Sydney?
I mean, having a routine, it was good, kind of following the same thing every week and doing the same. The classes this semester are a lot easier on like, they're very routine, like the same things are due on the same days every week. So just keeping it routine and not changing it up too much.
No like big surprises thrown in there.
Not often.
Not often. All right. So there are some strategies, and you guys, I think you have a good handle on it, and I know from working with a lot of you that you are pretty organized, and you're, things are stressful, but I haven't seen any tears from any of you yet. Even crying? No, Tom. So some strategies. Spend time figuring out what works for you. The planner works for you. Not adding extra crap to your schedule works for you. Methods, time blocking, patch similar tasks, say no. Anyone have a problem with that one? This girl does. Molly, it's hard, right? Like you want to do everything for everybody and you can't. And so then you say yes, and then you're overwhelmed. Set buffer times, no multitasking. Anybody a good multitasker? Yeah. Levi, are you good at multitasking?
Sorry.
Oh, no,
No, I am not good at multitasking.
it's one of the hardest things to do. So again, there's the day planner, paper calendar, planner, stats. Planning is important. Get done all the great things you are striving for. Okay, so this is a video, and we're not going to watch all of it because it's like 15 minutes long, but it's about procrastinating. And we all fall into it, even if we say, don't think we procrastinate. We do. So we're going to watch this video. It's pretty amusing, so.
If you're an Idaho homeowner.
No one cares.
2022,
No.
In December of 2020, Congress passed an extension to the solar investment credit, which pays.
Can you hear it, Levi?
And
Yes.
Okay. Oh. Oh.
so in college, I was a government major, which means I had to write a lot of papers. Now, when a normal student writes a paper, the expert could work out a little like this. So, you get started maybe a little slowly. You get enough done in the first week that some heavier days later on, everything gets done and things stay civil. And I would want to do that like that. That would be the plan. I would have it all ready to go, but then actually the people would come along and then I would kind of do this.
Anyone do that?
And that would happen every single day. But then came my 90-page senior thesis. Paper you're supposed to spend a year on. And for a paper like that, a normal workflow, it's not an option, it was way too big a project. So I planned things out and I decided, hey, I have to go something like this. This is how the year would go. So I'd start off light, and I'd bump it up in the middle months. And then at the end, I would kick it up to high gear. It's a little staircase. How hard is it to just walk up the stairs? No big deal, right? But then, funniest thing happened. Those first few months, they came and went, and I couldn't quite do stuff. We had an awesome new revised plan. And then those middle months actually went by, and I didn't really write words. And so we were here. And then 2 months turned into 1 month, turned into 2 weeks. One day I woke up with 3 days until the deadline, still not having written a word. And so I did the only thing I could. I wrote 90 pages over 72 hours, pulling not one, but 2 all-nighters.
Anyone do this?
2 all-nighters. Sprinted across campus, drove in slow motion, and got it in just at the deadline. I thought that was the end of everything. But a week later, I get a call. And it's school. And they say, "This is Tim Urban." And I say, "Yeah." And they say, "We need to talk about your thesis." I say, "Okay." And they say, "Best one we've ever seen." That did not happen. It was a very, very bad thesis. I just wanted to enjoy that one moment when all of you thought, this guy is amazing. No, it was very, very bad. Anyway, today I'm a writer, blogger guy. I write the blog Wait But Why. And a couple of years ago, I decided to write about procrastination. My behavior has always perplexed the non-procrastinators around me, and I wanted to explain to the non-procrastinators of the world what goes on in the heads of procrastinators and why we are the way we are. Now, I had a hypothesis that if the brains of procrastinators were actually different than the brains of other people. And to test this, I found an MRI lab that actually let me scan both my brain and the brain of a proven non-procrastinator. And so I could compare them, and I actually brought them here to show you today. And I want you to take a look carefully to see if you can notice a difference. And I know that if you're not a trained brain expert, it's not that obvious, but just take a look, okay? So here's the brain of a non-procrastinator. Now, here's my brain. There is a difference. Both brains have a rational decision maker in them, but the procrastinator's brain also has an instant gratification monkey. Now, what does this mean for the procrastinator? Well, it means everything's fine until this happens. So the rational decision maker will make a rational decision to do something productive. The monkey doesn't like that plan. So he actually takes the wheel and he says, actually, let's read the entire Wikipedia page, the Nancy Kerrigan and Tanya Harding scandal, because I just remembered that happened. Then we're going to go over to the fridge. We're going to see what's anything new in there since 10 minutes ago. After that, we're going to go on a YouTube spiral that starts with videos of Richard Feynman talking about madness and ends much, much later with us watching interviews with Justin Bieber's mom. All of that's going to take a while, so we're not going to really have room on the schedule for any work today. Sorry. Now, what is going on here? Instant gratification monkey does not seem like a guy you want behind the wheel. He lives entirely in the present moment. He has no memory of the past, no knowledge of the future, and he only cares about two things: easy and fun. Now, in the animal world, that works fine. If you're a dog and you spend your whole life doing nothing other than easy and fun things, you're a huge success. And to the monkey, humans are just another animal species yet to keep well slept, well fed, and propagating into the next generation. Which in tribal times might have worked okay. But if you haven't noticed, now we're not in tribal times. We're in an advanced civilization, and the monkey does not know what that is. Which is why we have another guy in our brain, the rational decision maker, who gives us the ability to do things no other animal can do. We can visualize the future. We can see the big picture. We can make long-term plans. And he wants to take all of that into account. And he wants to just have us do whatever makes sense to be doing right now. Now, sometimes it makes sense to be doing things that are easy and fun, like when you're having dinner, or going to bed, or enjoying well during leisure time. That's why there's an overlap. Sometimes they agree. But other times, it makes much more sense to be doing things that are harder and less pleasant for the sake of the big picture. And that's when you have a conflict. And for the procrastinator, that conflict tends to end a certain way every time, leaving him spending a lot of time in this orange zone, an easy and fun place that's entirely out of the make sense circle. I call it the dark playground. Now, the dark playground is a place that all of you procrastinators out there know very well. It's where leisure activities happen at times when leisure activities are not supposed to be happening. The fun you have in the dark playground isn't actually fun because it's completely unearned and the air is filled with guilt, dread, anxiety, self-hatred, all those good procrastinator feelings. And the question is, in this situation, with the monkey behind the wheel, how does the procrastinator ever get himself over here to this blue zone? A less pleasant place, but where really important things happen. Well, turns out that the procrastinator has a guardian angel, someone who's always looking down on him and watching over him in his darkest moments. Someone called the panic monster.
Anybody?
Now, the panic monster is dormant most of the time, but he suddenly wakes up. Anytime a deadline gets too close or there's danger of public embarrassment, a career disaster, or some other scary consequence. And importantly, he's the only thing that the monkey is terrified of. Now, he became very relevant in my life pretty recently because people at TED reached out to me about 6 months ago and invited me to do a TED Talk. Now, of course, I said yes, it's always been a dream of mine to have done a TED Talk in the past. But in the middle of all this excitement, the rational decision maker seemed to have something else in his mind. He was saying, "Be clear on what we just accepted. Do we get what's going to be now happening one day in the future? We need to sit down and work on this right now." And the monkey said, "Totally agree, but also let's just open Google Earth and let's zoom into the bottom of India, like 200 feet above the ground. We're going to scroll up 2.5 hours till we get to the top of the country so we can get a better feel for India."
Does this sound familiar to anybody but me? Anybody?
That's what we did that day. As 6 months turned into 4, and then 2, and then 1, the people of tech decided to release the speakers. And I opened up the website, and there was my face staring right back at me, and guess who woke up? So the panic monster starts losing his mind, and a few seconds later, the whole system's in mayhem. And the monkey, remember, he's terrified of the panic monster. Boom, he's up the tree. And finally, the rational decision maker can take the wheel, and I can start working on the top. Now, the panic monster explains all kinds of pretty insane procrastinating behavior, like how someone like me could spend 2 weeks unable to start the opening sentence of a paper, and then miraculously find the unbelievable work ethic, stay up all night and write 8 pages. And this entire situation, the 3 characters, this is the procrastinator system. Not perfect, but in the end, it works. And this is what I decided to write about on the blog just a couple of years ago. Now, when I did, I was amazed by the response. Literally thousands of emails came in from all different kinds of people, from all over the world, doing all different kinds of things. These are people who were nurses and bankers and painters and engineers, lots and lots of PhD students. And they were all writing saying the same thing. I have this problem too. But what struck me was the contrast between the light tone of the post and the heaviness of these emails. These people were writing with intense frustration about what procrastination had done to their lives, about what this monkey had done to them. And I thought about this, and I said, well, if the procrastinator system works, then what's going on? Why are all these people in such a dark place? Well, it turns out that there's 2 kinds of procrastination. Everything I talked about today, the examples I've given, they all have deadlines. When there's deadlines, the effects of procrastination are contained. In the short term, because the panic monster gets involved. But there's a second kind of procrastination that happens in situations when there is no deadline. So if you want to have a career, you want to be a self-starter, something in the arts, something entrepreneurial, there's no deadlines on those things at first, because nothing's happening at first, not until you've gone out and done the hard work to get some momentum, to get things going. There's also all kinds of important things outside of your career that don't involve any deadlines, like seeing your family, or exercising, taking care of your health, working on a relationship, or getting out of a relationship that isn't working. Now, if procrastinator's only mechanism of doing these hard things is the panic monster, that's a problem, because in all of these non-deadline situations, panic monster doesn't show up. He's nothing to wake up for. So the effects of procrastination are not contained. They just extend outward forever. And it's this long-term kind of procrastination that's much less visible and much less talked about than the funnier short-term deadline-based kind. It's usually suffered quietly and privately, and it's the source of a huge amount of long-term unhappiness and regrets. And I thought, that's why these people are emailing, and that's why they're in such a bad place. It's not that they're cramming for some project. It's that long-term procrastination has made them feel like a spectator at times in their own lives. The frustration is not that they couldn't achieve their dreams, it's that they weren't even able to start chasing them. So I read these emails and I had a little bit of an epiphany that I don't think non-procrastinators exist. That's right. I think all of you are procrastinators. Now, you might not all be a mess, like some of us. And some of you may have a healthy relationship with deadlines. But remember, the monkey's sneakiest trick is when the deadlines aren't there. Now, I want to show you one last thing. I call this a life calendar. That's one box for every week of a 90-year life. That's not many boxes, especially since we've already used a bunch of those. So I think we need to all take a long, hard look at that calendar what we're really procrastinating on, because everyone is procrastinating on something in life. We need to stay aware of the instant gratification monkey. That's a job for all of us. And because there's not that many boxes on there at the job, it should probably start today. But maybe not today, but you know, sometimes it. Thank you.
All right, so that makes sense to everybody. We all procrastinate. Everyone's got monkeys. No procrastinating. I mean, you're not at the point yet where there's so many deadlines to get into medical schools, that stuff, but those things are coming and you want to start preparing for those things now. So like being here is a good start. All right. Let me stop sharing that. Okay. Share my screen. Okay. I also don't know technology. Okay.
We didn't click the box.
Oh, what? No, wait, wrong box. What box?
The box is in.
Oh, boy. Levi, I don't know how to run a computer.
Down
Down low. Okay. This one? This one.
low.
Share. Okay, so now what we're gonna actually talk about is the purpose of this meeting, interviewing. Who's been in interviews before? A lot of hesitancy right there. So were they fun? Did you like enjoy every moment of it? Did you sweat beforehand? What kind of things have you interviewed for?
Just like jobs.
Like- Peer advisor?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the hardest part of that interview? Was it Erin? It was probably Erin. She's gonna listen to this later, so I'm here.
Feels weird.
What did you interview for, Molly?
Just like jobs.
Just jobs? Awesome. Levi, what have you interviewed for?
I have interviewed for several jobs. My latest job, I'm a phlebotomist at St. Alphonsus.
Awesome. Were you nervous?
Yes, very. It was online and
Oof.
they could see me, but I could not see them.
Oh. Yeah, that might be the hardest interview ever.
Yeah.
So the types of interviews that you guys had are probably the one-on-ones, mostly. Has anyone done a group interview where you have to go in with a bunch of people? And those are the worst. There's like 8 other people vying for the same job, and you got to try to be better than all of those people. So multiple kinds of interviews. One-on-one is the most common. Panels and committees, groups, performance, multiple mini interviews, and any combination of the above. Who knows what an MMI is? Who's going to do an MMI in a couple years? You. No, not you. Levi, are you pre-med or EPA?
Pre-PA.
Okay, so you might not have to do a multiple mini interview, but you'll have to do some sort of interview to get into PA school.
Right.
So the multiple mini interview is the one that we actually hold practices once a semester for our pre-med students. So if you come to this one next week, you can be an observer. And that's a good chance to find out kind of what's going on, but there's going to be a card on the board and people are going to read it and they're going to go in the room and either act out a situation or have to answer really hard questions. So that's kind of what medical school sets you up for. I can't talk. Okay, so things to know before your interviews, do your research. Has anybody ever done an interview for a job and you have no idea what you're interviewing for? Yeah. And what was that experience?
Well, it was just for like the research position.
Mhm.
I got an email saying, are you interested in this? And I was like, okay, like, and yeah, I had no idea like really what it was for, what was going on.
And could you get the job?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a scary experience. To tell on myself, I'm might have to cut this part out, but so before I got my job at Boise State, I actually worked at the College of Eastern Idaho as the assistant registrar. And I wanted to get out of Idaho Falls, like more than anything in the world. I hate Idaho Falls. So I applied for a job in Wyoming. Anyone been to Wyoming? Yeah. Yeah, so, and I got the job in Wyoming, but at the same time, I also applied to Boise State. And I had an interview at Boise State. So my first interview with Boise State, I was focused on the Wyoming job. I had no idea what I was getting into, none. When they said, you're gonna work at the College of Health Science, I'm like, what's the college? Well, you know, the students that want to become doctors, stuff like that, let me work with the students that want to become doctors? Are you serious? But I did something right. I didn't do any research, no idea what the College of Health Sciences was, actually until after I started. And then I was like, okay, we're gonna roll with this. That's a bad idea. Do your research. Know the program or position that you're interviewing for. Know what questions to anticipate. This is for med students and yeah, pretty much pre-med students and really anybody and students to know the AAMC core competencies, and we'll send those out to you. So you'll get more of that shoved down your throat as we carry on. YouTube, Reddit. So Google is a friend. There are lots of opportunities and a lot of things you can find on Google that are helpful. There are also a lot of things that aren't helpful. So you have to take it with a grain of salt. Don't go through and look at questions most used in interviews, because then you will try to remember the answers to all of those questions. And then you get to your interview and you have no idea. Wardrobe. Does this make sense? So you guys have all done in-person interviews before? Not just you, or what'd you wear? What'd you wear?
Business casual.
Business casual. So you put a tie on, or is that not business casual?
I think it depends.
Yeah.
You can go either way. I guess.
Yeah, I think it depends a lot on the job.
Yeah.
So if you're like, so my boyfriend's a landscaper. So he just got a new job at Franz Whitty and he wore jeans and a sweater, a hoodie to his interview. That's fine. When I got my when I interviewed at Boise State, even though I was Zoom, I still had a dress on in heels, which is weird because that never happens. What about you, baby? What have you worn?
Like just like jeans and a shirt.
Were there holes
But
in
it
the
was
shirt?
like it was not really an interview. I gotta be honest. I was basically handed the job and he was like, yeah, we'll just go. He bought me food. He's like, here's what you'd be doing. And I was like, okay.
Cool.
So
That's like the best job interview
yeah, it's
ever.
not really an interview.
Yeah. But you got food?
Yeah.
See, that's what we're doing wrong with peer advisors. We need to be offering them food. Yeah. If we offered you food, Molly, would you leave the research center and come work with us? Yeah, maybe. Think about that. You can tell me. Okay, so hair, makeup, jewelry, and accessories, conservative. So earrings are good, not huge earrings. You don't want your hair puffed out. Don't make a scene out of yourself. Comfortable but professional shoes. Err on the side of caution. So if you're not sure, go with what you're pretty sure is the right way to go. Try on the outfit and get any necessary alterations in advance. Remove all tags. I feel like there might be people that could apply to. Has anyone bought an outfit and then wore it to an interview and then returned it? Sydney?
I did for a photo shoot.
Levi, we have someone in the room that's done that. And this one's super important. Can you walk, sit, and stand comfortably in your outfit? I've been on interview committees where people come in and their skirt's too tight. And so they walk in like this, and you know they're uncomfortable the whole time. And they have shoes like this. So it's not okay. Oh, and also if you're wearing lipstick, make sure it's not all over your face, because that's bad. In there. Wasn't me though. No lipstick. Okay, and so this is actually this is good advice to make a cheat sheet. So what excites you about the job or the program that you're going into? What excited you about Embry? Ian got accepted into multiple schools, and so he's had to do some interviews lately.
It's in the public health capital of the world.
Okay, so it's in the public health capital of the world. Is that it?
It's pretty prestigious, I guess.
It's prestigious. They have a football team.
33.
Oh,
Good time.
oh. Yeah, I'm not sure either. What are some of your strengths? You will get asked that question. What are some of your weaknesses? Outline the tell me about yourself.
I have that. When I interviewed for this job.
Review any application materials, personal statements. This is for their pre-med, pre-PA students, your resumes. I actually looked at a student's resume the other day. Right in. It was very good. It was very good. Yeah, pretty good. Not a lot of stuff on there, but it was pretty good. Review any application materials. Oh, whoops, I just read that, sorry. So why do you want to pursue that program? Why do you want to pursue this job? Why did I want to come to work at Boise State? I love students. I mean, I didn't know what I was getting into. I really didn't. But I love what I do, and I love the students that I work with. And anything else that you think would be helpful, put it on a cheat sheet. General tips. These are pretty easy. Be nice to everybody. Like the lady that shows you the room where you're interviewing, be nice to her. Say thank you. Be prompt. Have anyone ever been late for an interview? You're not going to get the job if you're for the interview, just so you know. Drive to your interview location the day before. Know where you're going and how long it'll take you to get there. That's a big one. So I've had a lot. I'm just throwing this up in the best way. I've had a lot of jobs in my life, and I used to work at the College of Southern Idaho in Twin Falls. I had no idea where my interview was, and so I wandered around campus for about an hour trying to find the registrar's office. Bad idea. Bad idea.
And we're at a park.
Oh,
That's a
yeah,
good one.
the parking is huge.
Before every rotation, when I was in respiratory, I would go to the hospital and find like where I was supposed to park, so that in the morning I wasn't stressed out and trying to find, like, can I park in this lot?
See, that's smart too. That's smart. If I would have been an in-person at Boise State, I wouldn't have known that you needed a parking permit to park on campus. Thank goodness for Zoom. Expect the unexpected. Be flexible. I mean, they are people. It is a job. It is this program. Things change. And anticipate any things on your application that might concern the interview or poor grades. As I know this question comes up all the time, especially with our pre-med students, our pre-PA students. So I got a B+. Do I need to redo that class? Are they going to ask me about it? Probably not. They're probably not going to ask you about it because it's a B+. Students would kill, there's students that would kill for a B+ in biology or A&P. So that might not happen if it's a B+. But if you have a bad semester where you failed, there could be questions about it. No one in this room has done that. So, because you're all amazing. Okay, virtual. So this is kind of the new world. Levi, do you have any experiences about interviewing you want to share?
Not particularly, but I'll let you know if I think of something.
Okay, thanks. So virtual interview tips. And this is, like I said, this is kind of the new world that we're in. Make sure you know how to use Zoom or what's the other one? Teams and is that Microsoft Teams, Zoom. There's a lot of different platforms that could be used. Look at what's behind you. So what, if you're doing this, is your dog back there? Is dinner sitting behind your shoulder? Are you watching South Park on the TV behind you? Because that looks bad too. Not that I know. pick a quiet space, look at the camera when speaking. And this one's hard. This one's hard for me to, like, and I do this with students sometimes. Like my camera's here, but my eyes are sometimes over here and here, everywhere else but looking straight at the student. Does your internet work? Are your roommates being polite? Where's your dog? Is he on your lap? Is he wearing a little pink hat? Sydney, okay. Wear professional attire, at least from the waist up. Check the time zone. This one's huge. Do you need a microphone? And are your interviews live? So all of these things are important to know. Types of interview questions. Questions about you, your qualifications, and or your application materials. I got to read from this side. Behavioral, tell a story. Scenario, you're given a hypothetical situation. Stress, you're asked to complete a task. All of these things could happen. Role play. And our MMIs next week, we will be doing some role plays. And when you apply to medical school or PA school or dental school or whatever, there's going to be role plays, and you need to know how to handle those. Okay, so enough talking from me. I want to know from you guys what questions, from everyone here that's interviewed, what questions are hardest?
Tell me about yourself.
Tell me about yourself.
Yeah.
That took a long time to like outline and nail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Levi, what's the hardest question you've ever had to answer in an interview?
One hard one was they asked me for a specific time that I received criticism from a superior or a coworker and how I responded to it. And to be honest with you, I kind of had to make something up on the spot.
Oh, we've all been there. So don't feel bad. You have people staring at you, and they say, "What? Tell me about a time you messed up." Really? I want this job. I've never messed up in my entire life. I swear. So, and that's a great question. And so, tell me about myself. About yourself comes up in every interview, and that is one of the hardest questions. And the criticism question. How would you guys handle that? If they asked, so Molly, if you were in an interview and they said, tell me about a time you were criticized. What would you do about it? Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, I've had like similar stuff in interviews like that. But I think I was asked like a specific failure, the
Mhm.
time that I failed. And so I kind of had to do the same thing where I just like created something like right on the spot.
Mhm.
Because it was easier almost than trying to think back and like find a specific moment.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think I didn't necessarily focus on like what happened, but
Mhm.
how I responded.
Mhm.
And I think I took the discussion more in that direction.
Right, and that's actually really good advice. Is try to take the discussion elsewhere, and not just focus on my big failure that I probably just made up in my head. And I think we all do that. Don't ever feel bad about that. So tell me about yourself. So like Sydney said, yes, very hard. What is your greatest weakness? This one, I've had this one come up multiple times. And again, you don't want to admit that you're weak, right? But here's the thing is we're all human. None of us are, I mean, we're all amazing, but we're not perfect. And they know that. And they know that in interview committees, and they're not actually looking for that. When you're applying to medical school, they're not looking for the perfect applicant. They're not looking for you to come and say, well, I have a 4.0 GPA, and I go to church every Sunday, and I teach the Sunday school classes, and I run every morning at 5 a.m. and I only eat these kind of foods and I never do anything bad ever. They don't want to see that. And if you ask them that, would make the worst doctor ever. If he were perfect, I wouldn't come to you. We want you to be honest. So, like Molly said, steer the discussion elsewhere. and away from, your big weakness. Make it more about, yeah, here's my weakness. This is what I did about it. This is how I fixed it. This is what I do now. I'm a terrible procrastinator. And so I have to have a Trello board with like Post-it notes, like this online Post-it notes. I have a planner that I don't use. I have computer programs, got pretty much everything, but at least I'm trying to do something, right? Okay. Then after the interview, so what do you guys think are good ideas for after the interview? Are you done? Sit. Like peace out, see you later.
People tell you to write like a thank you note or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, why would you write a thank you?
It's like gratitude, I guess, just like thanking them.
Or,
Yeah.
or emails okay?
I've done that, but like never got back to me.
Yeah.
Acknowledged it.
So email, and I think it depends on the situation. You really have to decipher, is this more of an email kind of thing, like, hey, yeah, cool, thanks for interviewing me, I enjoyed meeting everybody. Or do you actually go out and buy a stamp and send a thank you card? What would you do that? What kind of interview would you do that for? Grad school, medical school. Always a good idea. Thank you notes, again, although this won't make or break your application, this step to express genuine gratitude will not go unnoticed. And guess what? Yeah, you had an interview. They could have interviewed 30 other people that day. But you said thank you. They're gonna remember you. I'm like, oh, that's that nice person. That was nice to everybody. And was dressed appropriately and didn't have crazy shoes on and their skirt fit, and all that stuff. Who do you send it to? Anybody who felt you had a meaningful conversation with. A representative on behalf of the department, the person who coordinated the interview. Those who had lunch or one-on-one interviews with you. Did you send the guy that gave you food? The thank you note?
No.
When to send it? Right after. Email or handwritten, what's best for the circumstances. And be mindful of prefixes and pronouns. He, she, they, them. If it was a physician, doctor. If it was a dentist, doctor. If it was someone with their PhD, doctor. If it was my boss, doctor. That's for when you apply for the peer advisor position. Okay. I'm pushing it. I'm pushing it. I will say, so if you're not sure who to send it to, or if there's a bunch of people on the interview committee, send it to Human Resources. Send it to the person who called you for the interview, and they'll tell everybody else. All right, I think that's it. Okay. Now we're done. Anyone have questions, comments, concerns? That was the most fun anybody's ever had. It's all right, tell me the truth. Okay, so I got another question. Levi, you got to get on this one. What, and I've talked to a couple of you in meetings already, but we're trying to make cohort better. Oh, hang on, I'm gonna stop recording. Hold on.